Okay, so welcome. I'm Melissa Kotter, and it's my real privilege to be delivering this presentation to you tonight. I'm excited to share with you my journey into ASEA, into the wellness industry, from the perspective of two angles. And the first one is taking responsibility for my health, and the second one is taking responsibility and taking charge of my finances. So if you're new on the webinar tonight and you're hearing about ASEA for the very first time, I'd like to extend a very special welcome to you. I'm really excited about the information that you're going to receive tonight. And if you've been in ASEA for a little while as an associate, welcome from wherever you're joining me from around the world. So I'll go on and get straight into my story. Maybe when I share my story, you can relate to some aspects of it. And the main thing is to look at where you're at in your life and changes, if you're looking for some answers, if you're seeking important solutions. The idea tonight is take what resonates with you and find your truth in the material, like we all have done as associates. And as I said before, I'm really excited about your journey. I started my corporate career as a pharmaceutical representative in Sydney. I'd finished my science degree, so I was 21 working for this big company. And essentially I sold my soul for the ego of having an amazing company car and a great income at the time, because I had no financial safety net. I was on my own at that age. There was no one to ask help from if things didn't quite go to plan. What ended up happening though is I caught a virus on my brain and another virus surrounding my brain, which caused swelling. And I was in a really serious situation where I ended up in intensive care in this hospital in Sydney. But the nurse wanted to inject me with a drug that I'd actually been selling in the field for a couple of years. I knew exactly what the drug was about. I knew it inside out, upside down. And I absolutely knew instinctively and in my heart that if she gave me that drug, I might not walk out of the hospital. So it was a major integrity crisis. And sometimes if you don't pay attention to your values and your own integrity in life, you sometimes get hit pretty hard across the head, and that's a good thing if you pay attention to the signs. So I looked to the big fella upstairs and I said, look, if I make it out of here, I'm going to spend the rest of my life, or as long as it takes, I should say, in search of the foundation of health, and the rest of my life educating people on taking a more proactive approach to their health. Not to say that there's not a place for pharmaceuticals, absolutely there is, but there is also a major abuse of pharmaceuticals, a major addiction of them. And for me, my journey was more in alignment with helping people to take a proactive approach to their health. So walked out of the hospital, quit my job. A few months later, I met a chiropractic student. He graduated, we moved to South Australia, leased a few clinics, and then moved to Far North Queensland a year later and founded and opened 3 chiropractic clinics. Loved being an entrepreneur, really enjoyed being a small business owner, loved the patients, wore many hats, just happy. Well, 2 things. I wasn't happy with how time poor I was, extremely time poor. Last patient usually 8 p.m, which is what happens when you're starting out building a traditional business. You work hard. The other thing that I wasn't so happy about was after a few years, I realized I had untapped potential that was niggling at me, that I knew that I wanted to tap into and discover more about how I could serve the world, how I could add value to other people's lives. So I enrolled in an MBA full-time as well as having the clinics, so I could research and find the business model for me. As fate would have it, a patient in the clinic approached me 3/4 the way through my degree and told me about the network marketing business model. At the time, I remember thinking, gosh, I've just studied, this would be my 6th full-time year, not consecutively at university. I'd groomed myself for another path in life. It certainly wasn't to have a career in a profession where you needed no qualifications. And there was a bit of ego involved, and I just thought, geez, what will people think of me if I join the network marketing profession? Still in my mid-20s. So I had a lot of heightened awareness around what other people's opinions of my life was about back then. And I'm so glad that I didn't allow their opinions to stop the next 21 years of my life in this profession, because that's how long it's been, because I have enjoyed every minute of it. And it has been to save my husband and I financially when we had 12 and a half years in court with a legal situation not of his doing. But we had over 68 court hearings. They were billing us over 100,000 US monthly, and it went on for a long time. We were in a position where we never missed a bill. We couldn't work for 10 years because the case was pretty intense. We just had to do our very best to get through. But having said that, this business model paid us every month in a really great income, as you could imagine, to cover those legal bills. And we never missed out on any of Bart's children, my husband Bart's children's education, their events. We went to all their school activities. We, from the outset, would have looked like we had a charmed life. And we were very, very fortunate, thanks to the power of reproductive residual income, which is the network marketing business model. Long story short, we ended up finding ASEA at a time when our backs were against the wall. The company we were with lost their way, and they were struggling with integrity issues, which meant I didn't want to have a thing to do with them anymore. It was really then a situation where we couldn't make the wrong decision. We had to make the right decision moving forward, psychologically as well as financially. And we've been involved with ASEA for 6 years now. It's been absolutely the very best decision that we've made in our careers. And really the defining thing for me, it's not only the ASEA culture and of course the breakthrough technology I'm going to share with you in a minute, it's the people. I've never met better people, corporate level, all the way through this business, ever, anywhere. The quality of people who are drawn to this business model, particularly ASEA, are a rare breed. They're very driven to help other people. And more importantly, their ethics and their integrity, their honesty and ability to be team players is exceptional and makes ASEA as a differentiated company from all other companies, in my opinion, in the network marketing profession. So I mentioned that I was going to talk about two aspects through this webinar. The first one was taking charge of my health, because I'd made a promise, right? And we're all responsible for our own health, whether we like to accept that or not, we are. So I was on a mission to fulfill the promise that I had. If you let me walk out of here, I will do this. I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want to be in an environment where I just didn't feel good anymore. I wanted to take a proactive approach to my health. And a great way of summarizing this point is from Dr. Maureen Hayes, who is a double diamond executive in ASEA. She says, most people don't actually consider their health until it's gone. So it's the choices that we make today that are going to determine the level of our wellness and our health and our healthy longevity tomorrow. Health is not a given, we've got to earn it. We do take it for granted. Every single one of us does, and typically until we lose it. But having said that, we have a real opportunity with ASEA to start addressing our health at its absolute foundation, which was part of the other part of my promise in terms of being in pursuit of the foundation of health. And I am so excited to share with you tonight what that is, because I found it. We all know this is common sense, right? Exercise, get plenty of rest, drink quality water, have a balanced diet. You know, the list goes on. Of course, that's important, but is it everything? Is this enough? Well, it turns out that it's not. We have to consider what's happening in our environment, what we're putting in our bodies in terms of the toxic poisons and the chemicals that are sprayed on our foods and included in a lot of the foods we eat, and the labeling, it's horrendous. We do live in a toxic world. It's just a fact of life because of mankind. So our soils are depleted, but what this means is all of negative attributes in terms of the damages that are caused to our health from the environment and what we put in our body. It's switching off our genes. It's switching off the important genetic pathways for communication and messaging throughout our body. So it goes even further. This study I looked at, I don't have the source on this slide, but it's an American study, and they did it of umbilical cords of newborn babies, where 287 chemicals were passed through the umbilical cords. So we're absolutely passing it down generation after generation. Excuse me. Not to mention, people are injecting all sorts of things into their skin, and they're putting over 127 chemicals on their skin a day. So if it wasn't bad enough, excuse me, people are inadvertently making their largest organ in the body a toxic cellular problems. It's a real issue. The other thing too, of course, is emotional eating. The more stressed people are, the busier they are with their commitments, the easier it is just to reach for fast foods. So people are literally digging their graves with a fork by making food choices based on instant gratifications and food. The challenge with this is that our gut is known as our second brain. So psychoimmunologists have known for a very long time that our gut health is extremely important to our mental well-being. And when you look at it this way, when we eat food, yeah, we're eating it, it tastes great, we feel good, but we're actually eating for one purpose and one purpose alone, and that is to feed the microorganisms throughout our gastrointestinal tract. And there's billions of need to understand what's happening there to serve our overall well-being, as I just mentioned. So we're rapidly aging as well. And why is this? And when you dig deep and you look at the options out there, it could drive you crazy, because it's like, where do you start? You know, what is the foundation of health? Because remember, that was the tangent, the trajectory that I was on. So ASEA opened my eyes because I had a new paradigm shift. I'd become desensitized a little bit with people approaching me, look at this, look at that. And it was just like, yeah. And admittedly, with the first time that I tasted ASEA, I put it on the shelf, ASEA, full of these molecules I'll talk about in a minute. And because it didn't taste so great the first time, I disregarded it. I didn't have information on it. I was desensitized and I didn't know what I held in my hands at the time. So when I got a little bit of information, I had a complete paradigm shift when it came to looking at our cells, specifically at the cellular level, because this became the missing piece of the puzzle for me to be able to find the foundation of health. Now, this breakthrough, it basically happens right at the foundation, at the cells. So we live and die at the cellular level, as I mentioned. All disease, every single disease, it doesn't matter, you name it, whatever disease you can think of, it starts in the cells. That's where it begins. And it's about getting to the root cause and not just whacking a band-aid on something. There's plenty of things out there that will whack a band-aid on problems and just mask symptoms. I used to be in that profession essentially, and so I'm not interested in that. Having said that, there's an amazing experience you can have with the gel that I'm going to talk to you about a little later, where you can really definitely see a big difference when it comes to discomfort levels through these molecules in the gel format when applied in a certain sequence to your skin. Now, this makes sense because cells form tissues that form organs, that form systems that make us unique. So what this means is, if you're not doing well on the outside, or if you're not feeling well, for example, this started potentially a long time ago at the cellular level, and they just lost their battle to get on top of things. That's typically what happens. So when our cells are healthy, we are healthy. So this made sense to me because of this diagram of the unhealthy cell versus the healthy cell. So when you see the unhealthy cell, the membrane, the structure in the membrane of the cell is clearly dysfunctional. Nutrients can't get into the cell when it's damaged this way, and only some waste products can get out, as opposed to the healthy cell, where the structure and the integrity of the cell is happy, it's vital. Nutrients can get in and toxic wastes can get out. It's a real issue when our cells can't detoxify. It's a big issue. And part of the damage to our cells is caused by toxins, what we eat, negative thinking, inflammation, viruses, bacteria, free radicals. Free radicals bombard and attack the cell and try to oxidize the cell. And that's why we have antioxidants, which I'll talk about in a minute. But all of this means that this unhealthy cell right here, there's no communication to it. There isn't communication to say, I can help you, and this is how I can help you repair yourself. Or if it's too far gone, I'm sorry, I can't help you, we need to replace you. So the body is amazing, the processes that go on at the cellular level. And ASEA, the company, they are the leader in the cellular health industry. There is nobody else in the world anywhere who has these messenger molecules I'll introduce you to. Nobody anywhere, only ASEA, and that other than it being them being inside your body. So this is what happens. These molecules I've been referring to are called redox signaling molecules. They restore cell-to-cell communication amongst a whole bunch of different things. So when we've got proper communication happening between our cells, any unhealthy cells get back into the communication network. They can be replaced, as I said before, or repaired. They've got the messages, the right messages to know how to repair. In fact, redox signaling molecules are responsible for every single process that happens at the cellular level. And they're so vital to our existence that you wouldn't be alive in 2 slides' time without the function of these molecules in our body, in your body. And the most amazing thing, which is really, really scientifically a miracle and extremely fascinating, is these molecules were discovered first in 1998, and they were discovered as a byproduct of the process the body goes through from the mitochondria to produce energy for the body, or ATP. In that process of producing energy, it throws off these molecules. So they were first considered to be a waste product until scientists understood, and it took them many years to understand that these molecules are vital to our existence. In fact, the diminished supply of these molecules is behind every disease known to mankind. So what they actually do is they detect imbalances. They detect that unhealthy cell. Then they protect the cell, because the decision has to be made with the neighboring cells. Are we going to repair this cell, or do we have to get rid of you altogether, which is called apoptosis? ASEA has heavily studied and invested in science to be able to prove the credibility of these molecules. They actually activate antioxidants. We've got those free radicals, but unless a messenger molecule comes along in the form of redox signaling molecules and antioxidant you need to be activated to do your job, they don't get activated. They can't do their job properly. So they're important to fight those nasty free radicals that are causing damage every day at our cellular level. They're responsible for communication in the immune system, which is vital for viruses and bacteria. In fact, they've been scientifically proven to boost the immune system over 500%, which is absolutely profound. They turn on genes. So those genes I mentioned earlier that are turned off due to the various toxins in the environment, etc. This technology, the redox signaling molecules, have been scientifically proven to turn back your genes, to turn them on. So when you can imagine that there's the proper communication going into those 75 trillion plus cells, of course, our tissues are functioning better, our organs are healthy, our systems are operating better, and we have vitality from the cellular level. Exact foundation. It doesn't get more foundational than at the cellular level. Dr. Kurt Stickley summarizes it really beautifully. He says, without these cell signaling molecules, we simply wouldn't have immune protection from various bacteria. We wouldn't have the gene replication that we need, DNA sequencing that we need. So even though it seems like a small piece, these redox signaling molecules interact through the body with every cell that we know. So how have ASEA managed to pull off a miracle? And when I say a miracle, those cells that were considered a byproduct from the mitochondria, they actually have to be used by the body in a millionth, 1/1 millionth of a second, or they turn back into salt water. So it took scientists 17 years to stabilize these exact same molecules that the body makes outside the body, 17 years, because you can imagine it's like catching and stabilizing an ember from a fire that got away, stabilizing that ember before it extinguishes itself. And the way they do it, it's a 3-step, 3-day process. So they take pristine salt water. If you were to crack open a cell and put it into a glass, it's a salty bag of water amongst a whole bunch of other functions in there. But essentially, the functions are carried out through the saline in the bag of the cell. So they take that salt water, and step 2 is they break down the salt water. They break it down into free floating atoms of sodium, chloride, hydrogen and oxygen, salt and water. But where the magic happens and where the process became profound is in step 3. And that's where these molecules are specifically restructured through a very heavily patented process into a balanced set of redox, stabilized redox signaling molecules, exactly the same as what's found in your body, in your cells. And so as associates, we talk about this technology, about these molecules being native to the body. And what that means is the body knows exactly what to do with them and puts them to work immediately because they recognize that they're exactly the same as what the body already produces. Something that's natural to the body would be a food item or a herb or a blueberry, for example, that we eat might be high in antioxidants, but in order to get to the antioxidants, the body has to pull it apart, convert it into something else, and that takes energy. So this is immediate. And it's thanks to this gentleman here, Dr. Gary Samuelson. He's the atomic medical physicist that led a team of scientists who created this miracle. And he said, this technology has the potential to spearhead the greatest advances in health we've ever seen. And if you're new to ASEA, that may seem like quite a profound statement, and it actually is. It's true. The more you find out about this, the more you discover there are universities that are setting up redox signaling laboratories and wings of their universities. I'll get to some science in a minute, but it is absolutely changing the face of the medicine. This is a disruptive technology. It's transformational, and we will look back on the decade, as I'll share with you in a minute from Dr. Dick Walker, and realize that this is the beginning of redox biochemistry. This is the beginning of it transforming health as we know it. So there are trillions, literally trillions and trillions of stabilized redox signaling molecules in this bottle of ASEA. And it really represents cellular health, dealing with the cells from the inside out. Now, BioAgilytix is a very well-known company in the pharmaceutical realm for quality control and assurance. ASEA sends an assay of every batch of ASEA to BioAgilytix laboratories where they certify, there's a label on the bottle in the US, that they certify that every bottle contains these high concentration of redox signaling molecules. So they're very much responsible for quality control. What ended up happening was people were spraying this liquid supplement all over their skin, and they were noticing some really significant changes. So it took 5 years because you cannot mix whatever you would like with these molecules. They're highly fleeting, as I've said, and they're highly bioavailable, which means they readily get absorbed in the body. So if you put orange juice or mix it with anything, essentially anything else, you're going to denature the molecules, which means they're not going to be as effective. So it took them 5 years to get the unique formula right. They've got a clay stabilizer and a pH buffer along with the molecules in Renew 28, so named because healthy cells replenish themselves every 28 days. So then ASEA was able to address cellular health from the outside in. These two technologies, products, the Renew 28 has a heavily concentrated formula of the amount of these molecules over even the liquid supplement that we drink. They complement each other, and we're taking care of every aspect of our cellular health. ASEA went another step further and realized because you just can't combine anything with these molecules, as I mentioned before, they created a unique cleanser that prepares the skin for the receipt of the molecules, the Renew 28, on the face, throat, neck. The Renew 28 is whole body. I use it everywhere. I actually go through a tube a week. May seem excessive, but That's what I do. A lot of people use it on their face, neck, on their décolletage, men in particular, absolutely. And this tube here is an even more heavily concentrated serum that's used for spots, used for problem areas on the skin that may be calling out for real attention. Particularly photo damage type issues, which happens from the sun in Australia in particular. But this gel is a smaller tube that's heavily effective. And then the moisturizer is just divine. I absolutely love the moisturizer, and it helps to seal in the molecules. I won't go into the unique ingredients, but they are of the highest quality. You can certainly get that information, the product information. So get together with the person who invited you to tonight's webinar. This is to let you know that ASEA'S technology, it's 100% safe, which means that as an associate, I have 100% confidence when I'm recommending this technology to anyone. And we have 2 dogs, one dog in particular, she goes and drinks a bottle of ASEA a week. She sits by her bowl, she'll drink water too, but she'll go sit by her ASEA bowl and wait for it to be poured. And she'll sit there until I get a new bottle out if she's run out, so that I can fill up her bottle. You can't placebo an animal. She knows what's good for her. They both drink it, but she knows what's good for her. And it just means I have peace of mind knowing that I'm taking care of my animals too. So safe for the whole family, non-toxic, native to the body, as I mentioned, and there's nothing nasty in there. Last point is, it's, as I mentioned, heavily patented. So as associates, given that we have no competition as independent business owners with ASEA, no competition, we have such a head start on anyone else that could potentially ever even stabilize these molecules. There's plenty of companies trying to do it and they can't figure it out. So it's really important to know that we've got the confidence and the head start with being able to suggest these molecules to other people to try. Now, I did my due diligence. As associates, we all do our due diligence, and some people discover what this is a lot sooner than others. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, it's important to find your truth in this, your unique truth. It's important to also consider this is what the experts are saying. These statements are profound. These next Dr. Robertson Ward and the next 2 people, Dr. Dick Walker and Louise Gittleman, they have a huge amount of credibility. And Dr. Robertson Ward said, redox signaling molecules are absolutely crucial to maintain. Cell in our body needs these molecules for communication purposes. The more balanced and abundant they are, the healthier we are. And I'll get to this point on abundant they are in just a minute. So we've got hundreds of doctors, really amazingly specialized doctors that have joined ASEA because they get it. They understand this missing link in the health environment in the world today. Dr. Dick Walker, he said, we will look back on this decade and see it as the beginning of molecular medicine. Redox deficiency is behind every major disease and illness that mankind suffers. Every major disease and illness that mankind suffers is a result of redox deficiency. It's been scientifically proven. And Louise Gittleman, she says, ASEA, in my humble estimation, is the greatest advance in lifestyle medicine, which harnesses the power of your body to keep you well. So these molecules, they don't have intelligence. We drink them, or a body has the intelligence to tell these molecules where to go and where to perform and basically how to do their job. We can't heal our body. We can only put it in an environment, both for what we drink, put on our skin, how we live. We can only put it in an environment where it can best do the job it's designed to do, and that's to heal itself. I mentioned research. Redox signaling molecules, I mentioned, were discovered in 1998, and there's been over 160,000 studies published in credible medical journals and peer review articles on redox biochemistry. And remember, the only company that has this technology. Over 1,200 books on this topic. This one we have Dr. Naidu. He wrote Redox Life. It's an amazing book. It's not for the faint of heart. It's got a lot of science in it, but it's specifically dedicated to redox biochemistry. It's amazing. Harvard, Johns Hopkins, and Cornell universities have opened new centers for molecular signaling. And I'm going to show some before and after photographs, but it's to let you know that ASEA is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. So here's some really typical before photos at the top and after photos at the bottom. And this is taken after just 3 weeks of using Renew 28, the topical gel. You can see here the huge difference over here to the left with wrinkles on the throat. This is a lady in her 60s from Norway. Massive difference. Take your before photographs is the whole point of this particular message here. Imbalances typical of teenagers in the skin. You can see the difference after 3 weeks. Here, same inflammation, redness, swelling, same. And yet again, back to wrinkles. You can really see the difference in the fine lines that are quite deep here that are disappearing. That can't be placebo. That only happens when communication's restored to the cells, when the cells know to repair themselves a lot quicker. And here's an explanation, better than what I just said then. So Dermatest is the world's leading dermatological laboratory. They've actually given ASEA their 5-star of approval because of how effective the product is and how safe it is. Stevens and Associates is another global leader in the dermatological industry. They have published a study that was done on Renew 28 saying that skin cell renewal was 16% faster, 16% better skin cell renewal. So it took even 4 days off the 28 days that skin cells replenish themselves, which basically means at the end of the day, that's that's the effects of the beautiful skin down here. It's more vibrant, it's smoother, the texture increases, it's the elasticity is so much better, and people glow. They seem to glow after they start using ASEA'S technology with the Renew 28, the Redox skincare line on their face. Blood flow is tested as increasing 49%, which is massive, just 15 minutes after the first application and lasting 72 hours. The reason why this is important is blood flow carries nutrients into the cell and pulls toxins out of the cell. So you can just imagine the difference in how our skin looks, the luminosity of our skin, the vibrant health of our skin, because we've got blood flow that's increased to the skin. So smoothness, wrinkle depth, and elasticity explains these before and after photos. So if you're looking to look and feel younger, then don't go any further than these molecules as a foundational step, and I'll tell you why they're essential for you right now. That's because it's been scientifically proven that these molecules, we don't produce as many as we used to starting from puberty. That's what actually leads to aging, because of the breakdown, the communication of our cells. They don't have enough molecules. So that's why the replenishment of these molecules is responsible for those before and after photos, and the ones that you'll see in just a minute. The older we get, we don't bounce back as easily as we did when we were younger. That's because we had a replenished amount of these molecules. So it's a huge difference. So that's why I said they're essential for health, because every human out there after puberty in particular have a diminished supply, and diminishes 10% every decade. So that's quite significant the older we get. Conditions you may not think about using the whole body therapy on for sunburn. Gentlemen are getting great results. Of course, it's skin. This creping of the lady's arm, that's after 28 days in terms of the before and after, really profound. Yet again, another photo, quite huge, this photo, in terms of how smooth her skin is afterwards. Who knows how long she suffered from that condition for. And this gentleman's hand. Thermography doesn't lie. You can't fudge a thermographic scan to my understanding. This is, sorry about that. This is before and after photographs. I'd mentioned earlier, this is a lumpectomy, you can see the radiation, what it's caused in terms of the redness and the swelling. This is 10 minutes after the Redox Renew 28 gel has been applied twice. Look at the substantial difference in the reduction in inflammation and swelling. That's massive. Same here with the left hand and the left thumb. They applied Redox Gel, Renew 28 Redox Gel, 3 minutes apart, and waited 8 minutes before they took the after scan. Same here with back. back issues. Now, Renew 28 is our absolute go-to first aid kit product. That's what we use first because of the profound effects that it actually has. If you're an athlete, if you like to keep fit, then the athletic performance has also been scientifically proven to help athletes to get a competitive edge, to push through the wall. Athletes hit the wall where they can't go any further. It helps them to push through that wall, and it helps specifically in recovery with these two products being applied. Drinking before a race, applied to the legs or skin before the race with the new 28. And if you want more information, then go to athletes.aseaglobal.com. ASEA have numerous professional athletes that have joined them because they absolutely believe the product and know that it gets results and has given them a competitive edge. Olympic gold medalists in the US, the UK's strongest man, you name it. Pickleball, #1 rated, #2 rated pickleball champions in the world. They all have ASEA as their go-to product. And because it's non-toxic, particularly for Olympic athletes, there is absolutely no concern about the IOC testing procedures where they have to get tested at any random time anywhere. If they got the product on them, they get it tested, it passes 100% of the time. So now when you know that you're replenishing the supply of these molecules and communication gets restored to your cells, the structure has a chance because the cell can be fixed if it's not beyond repair, which means that nutrients can get in. Now, redox signaling molecules have no nutritional potential, none at all. The nutrition has to be in the cell for these molecules to be able to give direction on where it needs to go and how it needs to be used. And because the structure's fixed in this cell with the redox molecules, waste products can get out, so we're healthier. So redox molecules restore the communication, integrity, and function of the cell, so vital nutrition can get back into the cell. This is how that works. ASEA then decided that cellular health being their absolute core focus, they needed to look at nutrition that specifically addressed 100% specifically address cellular health. So the nutrition range they've come up with is called ASEA Via. It works synergistically in with ASEA, but the best way to actually think about it is the nutrition is the materials in the building of a house, for example, and the redox molecules are the labor. So here's a statement that clarifies that. Redox signaling molecules provide the labor that detects, protects, and rejuvenates cells, allowing nutrients, the materials that nourish the body, to be used properly by the cells. So let's assume all these workers here, subcontractors, they are the labor. They represent the labor. They'll read the DNA blueprints, the house blueprints. They'll push the genetic codes. They'll turn on the power supply, which is like the mitochondria producing these molecules in the body. They give all the communication messages out, but the house that they're building has only as much integrity as the materials that they use. So I'm going to talk a little bit about ASEA Via in a moment, and you'll see how ASEA have created them with the very, very highest quality ingredients in the market today, and they haven't cut any corners. A lot of companies put on their label ingredients that have just been dusted in their formulas, not really in any supply to be hugely effective, if at all. ASEA hasn't done that. They went to the leading experts in the world to put this range together so that it's extremely effective and that we can all stand behind the integrity of knowing that these products are really, really good. So that's a photo of the building materials. So with ASEA Via and ASEA, the molecules itself, they complete the picture of cellular health from the inside out. So ASEA Via for right now is not available in Australia or New Zealand outside of the not for retail way that we get it into the country, which is no big deal. We order it from the US. My favorite product is Biome. I'm going to tell you about that in just a second. And then they've addressed, as you can see, in terms of the dichotomy, the inside out, outside in, with the world's only redox skincare line. Let's look at a quick summary of the benefits. ASEA source is 24 nutrient-dense superfoods. Superfoods are nutrient-dense foods that typically we don't always eat on a regular basis. This formula also, and this is a summary, this formula also includes whole food micronutrients. So micronutrients are small nutrients that are vital for the cells to be able to function properly. There is Biome, my favorite product. It contains 16 different strains of probiotics, simply because bacteria that colonize, the microorganisms that colonize our gastrointestinal tract, depending upon where they sit in our GI tract, they perform different functions. So you have to have different strains of probiotics to be able to help the different microorganisms in the body perform their job, do their job well. There's a prebiotic, fructooligosaccharides in Australia, which acts as a fertilizer for the good bacteria in our gut. And there's marshmallow root, which helps to protect the lining of our gut. Some people suffer from issues where different foods, different things can pass through the lining of the gut and cause issues to the immune system. Marshmallow root really helps with that in particular. So then they've got a Life Max, which is an active cellular lifestyle nutritional. It has 16 distinct plant nutrients, phytonutrients. 2 of them are adaptogenic herbs that are well known in the traditional Chinese medicine circles, Kotter and astragalus, and they specifically are designed to reduce stress and to reverse aging. And the fourth product is the premium omega-3 supplement for cardiovascular and brain support, which is hugely important. Heart attacks, for example, in Australia, still #1 cause of death. Dementia and Alzheimer's, #2 cause of death. With dementia and Alzheimer's, people's immune systems get weakened to the point that that's what they die from, but it's still a very, very real issue in society today. So let's look at a combined summary of the main benefits of what these 4 nutritionals target in the body. Yet again, they provide the nutrient building blocks or the materials that work with the redox molecules, the labor. They specifically are designed to support cellular health. For example, they help to regulate healthy cell division and longevity. So you don't want unhealthy cell division happening in your body. They help the cells assimilate vitamins and minerals. They have a very specific proprietary formula comprised of 6 enzymes that make up this blend where it maximizes the bioavailability or the amount our body can actually extract out of these nutrients and use. So you're not going to be taking expensive nutrients where most of the goodness ends up in the toilet bowl. Your body's going to be able to use these nutrients, but more specifically because the redox, the healthy nutrients are in the cell for the digestive system, aids in the mental well-being, the second brain situation with the gut that I'd mentioned earlier, promotes healthy brain function, supports a healthy immune system. So yet again, we've got the immune system that's improved over 500% thanks to the labor, the molecules, and then we add on to that more nutrients that help the immune system. So help to support a healthy inflammatory response. The idea is to avoid inflammation in your body getting to a chronic stage. So this is a good preventative measure for that. Helps to support a healthy metabolism. Who doesn't want that? Cardiovascular health, antioxidant activity. So we've got the molecules that are activating the antioxidant, and we've got the nutritional range that's also supporting the antioxidant activity to go after those nasty free radicals that reduced. So if you're truly looking at ASEA from a proactive approach to your health, which I did absolutely in the very beginning, then please go to ASEA'S.com and have a look at specifically more details about what this amazing nutrient range by ASEA Via can do. Now, if you're going to take 1 bottle of Biome or 1 bottle of Redox, for example, the ASEA Redox signaling molecules, just know that significant results 10 to 15% of people experience in their first week versus 90+% of people in 3 months. Obviously, conditions are often formed over a long period of time at the cellular level. It takes some time to turn the ship around for people to notice significant results. Now, because the molecules are native, the body puts them to work straight away, as I suggested. So the product works 100% of the time on 100% of people. It has to. It's what the molecule, it's because the body already creates these molecules. It just takes 90+% of people 3 months to notice those results. The point here is, if you're going to get started on ASEA, do your body the best favor and do yourself the best service by actually getting on these products for 3 months minimum. Here's why. Before and after only 5 applications in the morning of Renew 28. This lady waited 7 months. My guess is she doesn't mind that she waited 7 months. Perhaps her body told the molecules to go some more urgent situation in her body as opposed to straight here to her skin. Who knows? All I know is I'm sure she's grateful for these results because she's probably tried a lot of other things. So that's number one when it comes to my real commitment to helping people take a more proactive approach to their health and helping to educate them on that, which was the decision you'll remember I made from the hospital bed. The second is, I know we can help more people when we have financial abundance. It's not a really fun feeling, and it does affect our health when we don't have great financial abundance. And so it's important to take a look at that, and ASEA can really help you there. Because I was on a mission to find a way. I really don't like being trapped in my life. I don't really like, I'll take orders from other people, but the whole employee thing, it's just not my gig. It's just not my thing. I'm a great employee if I have to be, but I choose not to be because I want to live my life my way. I don't want to play small. We can help more people when we don't play small. You have your unique gifts and your unique talents, as I do. We're all individuals. We have a responsibility to activate those gifts and talents, in my opinion, to help other people. And we've all been given that ability from birth, in my opinion, to have financial abundance and to go and create our unique imprint on the world. So we can make more of a difference financially in the lives of other people and from a health perspective when we're financially abundant. I knew I needed to be an example to lead the way, a no-brainer, right? But more importantly, because of my previous experience with companies that didn't have integrity, company had to measure up. Had to be a company I could trust. When you go into partnership with someone, you want to know that it's for the long term. And ASEA are amazing when it comes to their strategic planning. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute, thanks to ASEA's founder, Vertus Norton. His background in corporate America is amazing. He was the vice president of strategy for Kraft Food, which was a $37 billion a year company. His son, Tyler, another ASEA founder, spent 2 decades in the finance and insurance business, 9 years of that time at the Fortune 500 top VP positions as well. Now, what actually happened is a fondness for biotech companies. He found a company out of Logan, Utah, where my husband's from. They had ASEA. They couldn't stabilize it outside the body. They'd tried everything. They basically went broke as a result of that. Vertus was invited in to go on the board. He ended up buying the company because he realized that they had their hands on something significant, but he was then on a mission to find out how significant. And that's when he met Dr. Gary Samuelson and these molecules became stabilized. But what happened? Here's a businessman. These 2 gentlemen were businessmen. Yeah, they live in Utah, but they hadn't been involved in the word of mouth business model before. So a pharmaceutical company approached them and told them they'd offer them money for them to basically never have to worry about anything for generations and generations to come. So it was an offer huge that most people would have taken and run. But what happened was that offer came with some strings attached. And the strings were, the product originally got out to 20 people. Because as I said in the beginning, when you don't have a balanced set of these molecules, when you have a deficiency, in the beginning, when you're replenishing, ASEA doesn't taste that great. It doesn't taste bad, but it doesn't taste that. Didn't know if people would be compliant. So they got it out to 20 people. 6 of those people were told to get their affairs in order. After 2 months, the product went to 20 countries and 135 people were on the product. Now, that doesn't happen if a product doesn't work. The point here is the strings that were attached, the pharmaceutical company said everyone has to get off ASEA today. in order for this sale to go through. Vertus knew people were dependent upon it literally for their life, and he said, no, I am not going to do it. That's when he made a decision to get ASEA to the people. In all likelihood, this technology would have been shelved by the pharmaceutical companies, or we would only have been able to get it on prescription. So they said no to the money, and they got it to the people. And if that's not integrity, I don't know what else is. It's great to know, given the background of these gentlemen and all of the corporate team, they have over 200 years combined experience in running companies, basically. They have done well over 800 million in sales in their 10-year history. They've been debt-free since 7 months in operation, which made this year a no-brainer for them to be able to even give more money back to the field. They pay out 50% in commissions, which so far represents over 250 million that they've paid out. They own their own manufacturing facility, which is really important because of quality control. They distribute through 19 distribution centres globally, and they are absolutely ready for the wave that's coming in this production facility here. That's the headquarters in Pleasant Grove, Utah. Across the road, it's a production facility. This is Mount Timpanogos. Bart and I used to live in Midway, a little town on the other side of that mountain. So the business model made sense to me when I first had to get over myself when I was in the chiropractic clinics, because I realized the chiropractic clinics grew only for one reason alone. It was word of mouth marketing. We all know word of mouth marketing, if you're a small business owner, it is the most effective form of marketing that there is out there. So through word of mouth marketing, ASEA is now in 34 countries, I believe, with 16 languages supported. Asia has come on the grid in the last few years with absolutely massive explosion happening in those countries. This is how it starts. We share what ASEA is. Because the label of ASEA says salt and water, people don't understand what redox signaling molecules are. You may not even, after I've explained this tonight. We need to get with people and let them know what it is. If it sat on the shelf somewhere, they wouldn't have that understanding. They just wouldn't know. People tell people and word gets out because people are getting results and people are astounded by this breakthrough and they want to know more. And then before you know it, you have a distribution channel that goes all across the world. And maybe it starts in America and it grows into Asia, or perhaps you've got a European distribution channel. ASEA pays in over 8 ways. All I know as a small business owner, the chiropractic clinics didn't pay in over 8 ways, and nor did my corporate job. So there was an opportunity, like I said, when I was looking to take the 4 walls of the chiropractic clinic and get them out over the world, where I could tap into my untapped potential and make more of a difference. And I could do that through ASEA. But I had to know that the ladder I was putting up against was against the right wall for reasons I mentioned earlier. Couldn't make the wrong decision. Sometimes in life we get tunnel vision, we get in debt, we've got mortgages to pay and kids to feed and just bills to pay in general, and we can't get off that treadmill. Number one, we often don't know how, and number two, we just don't feel like we have the time. Well, when you know that this technology is so profound and that we all need it, there's no competition, and the company checks out, it's easy to get off that flywheel. It's easy. You've just got to doing it and then find your truth in it. If you're looking at this particular time, or as we've seen this year. So if you're looking to either replace your income or you're seriously looking to build something else up whilst you continue doing what you're doing, please take a careful and considerate look at ASEA, because thousands of people have done that, hundreds of thousands of people across the world. ASEA has a huge mission, and quite frankly, we need your help to share it. So if you're looking for time and money freedom, I'm excited for you to take a deep dive into ASEA. Timing's important. Now, the reality is they're 10 years in business. This is where the foundation has been laid. Any bugs that needed to be ironed out, it's been ironed out. The production facility is set up. We absolutely know as associates that ASEA will reach at least a minimum of $500 million in annual sales in the next 5 years. The decision really is, are you going to be ahead of that or are you going to be behind that? It's going to happen with or without us. So as I mentioned, find your truth and know what you're saying yes to, or if the business model is not for you, that's okay. Just understand what you're saying no to. You don't want to walk away and have that feeling inside where you wished that you would have. So just get your questions answered for yourself. Don't sit on the fence in your life, regardless of what your decision is moving forward, because it is a reality that if we play small, we can't help as many people as and whom you're destined to help, because you're uniquely who you are. We can't reach them if we play small. Personal responsibility kicks in when associates join ASEA. That's because when we understand what we have our hands on and the real privilege and the honor that it is to have the information that we have to share it with other people. And that's naturally what's been happening around the world. So when it comes down to where you see yourself, of course, getting on the technology with your diminished supply of these molecules is really essential for your longevity, for your family, for your pets. If you're looking to supplement your income whilst you're building a plan B without changing what you're doing, take a really good look at this. People are earning a lot of money as a secondary income. Then they end up, they're doing so well, they step out and they replace their income altogether. This is where Bart and I came in. We'd had history with this professional business model. We understood what it was about. We were absolutely going for it. We've been in ASEA now 6 years, as I mentioned earlier. When you become a member and set up an account with ASEA, it just makes complete sense to get that 3-month supply. You can participate in the best pricing with free products and the best product selection at the time of getting that membership. So don't miss that opportunity, because this is where you've got the greatest savings and the greatest opportunity to put these molecules to work. To set up in business is 60 Australian dollars, which is nothing for an international business currently in 34 countries. I can tell you the chiropractic clinics took a lot more than $60. So yet again, some certification that ASEA does invest millions of dollars into research, giving us confidence to know what we're talking about. This is the discomfort scale test that you can do with Renew 28. So you identify on your skin, on your body, anywhere where there's discomfort, you shake the tube, you apply the tube 3 times in 5 minutes, then you wait 5 minutes. And on a scale of 1 to 10, it's important to rate your discomfort in the beginning, 10 being not great. And then at the end, go and rate yourself again. You can experience immediate results. You can see that these molecules are getting in there and doing what that thermographic images I showed earlier, it's actually doing that. So go have fun with this, because it works. If you want to jump on the internet, just understand first and foremost, Google is a search engine. It is not a research engine. If you want to get the right information on redox signaling molecules, then go to scholar.google, put in redox signaling molecules, and you can get access to those hundreds of thousands of peer groups reports if you're so inclined. If you're somebody that really wants to tap into that untapped potential, if you consider that you do have that, or if you're on a special mission and a cause that's unique to you, come and join us so you can fulfill that here at ASEA. ASEA is the world's greatest vehicle, in my opinion, for all of us to reach, to become who we were always meant to be, and to reach whatever goals that we may have set for ourselves in our lives, whether that be travel more locally right now, or when we can travel globally again. Maybe you want to spend more time at home with your family. Maybe you don't like getting up at the same time every day, sleep deprived or not, to go to a job. Maybe you want to grow, you want to blossom, you want to emerge in the world. You want to just be able to get out on the stage. The platform's set for you at ASEA to be the best version of yourself. It's a safe place. It's a home to so many people who are there for one reason, to support you in your journey. Maybe you're looking to restore your health. Maybe you just want to feel good again. Come and get on these molecules and give yourself an opportunity to feel like this. Perhaps you're looking to get out of debt, which is a really smart thing. You can also, maybe you have a charity you love. ASEA has the most profound charity called the Advancing Life Foundation. For example, this picture relates to Ecuador, where they've built a vocational school to service 1,500 families in trades, which is important because the kids in these villages end up going to the cities and they end up in slums their entire lives because they're unskilled. The corporate team, they run a couple of trips a year where we can go to these places where they have these projects around the world. We can get in the trenches, we can get there with the local people, we can make a huge difference. They also invest heavily in Operation Underground Railroad to help free child sex slavery globally, and even people above 18, they help to free them. They invest in the training of dogs that sniff out pornography. They invest in actual rescue missions. They invest in the rehabilitation centres where people who are rescued come out and have some recovery before assimilating in the world. We give generously to them. We love to support ASEA in their pursuits and their goals in this regard. If you'd like more information, advancinglife.org. I can reassure you this is not lip service. The only person who you're destined to become is the person that you decide to be. If you're in a situation in life right now where you feel stuck and you've got a bunch of reasons where you're thinking why you can't do something for yourself, you can't free yourself from your commitments, just sit there for a second and maybe after this webinar and think of one reason why this could work, one reason why you could do this for you. It's your choice on ultimately at the end of the day. There's no heavier burden than untapped potential. I believe that we're here to fulfill that. A tree goes out in a rainforest and grows to its highest possible potential that it can. We are designed as human beings, in my opinion, to fulfill our potential, because that's where we get the greatest fulfillment and, in my opinion, the greatest rewards. So what if you could change your life like Bart and I have? We're here with Virtus in Cancun, a trip we took in 2015. We've been to Ireland, we've been to Panama, I've lost track of these amazing trips, Rome next year, Croatia. No, I'm missing some trips. We've been to some amazing places thanks to ASEA, and we've won these trips. So we love to have adventures, and thanks to ASEA, we have the financial abundance now to be able to do that. We're in a position where we can help our families, genuinely help our families. I pay anonymously for my niece's school fees, so my sister doesn't know. She's a single. I love to be able to help. I help my mum substantially, who raised 4 kids as a single mother, pension most of her life. I can help her in ways that I couldn't before. So the adventure's out there. It's just up to us as to whether we choose to move forward or not. And a closing slide is, we let our own light shine. We unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And that's thanks to Nelson Mandela. This goes in hand with playing life small, but it also goes hand in hand with the fact that for me personally, my biggest and purest and ultimate joy in life is to see people shine. I love that more than anything else, to shine your unique light from who you are, to be able to make the difference that you're destined to make. And I can assure you again, this is not just something that I'm saying because it sounds good. Please check out ASEA and join us as a place where you can do this, because your unique light is needed in the collective unique light to be able to change the in discovery and help people know that there is a better way, should they choose to step forward. And it's okay if they don't. So I've gone a little bit over the hour, but I just wanted to thank you again for joining me this evening. As I said, take you on this journey and share a little bit about me with you. So please get back to the person who invited you onto tonight's webinar. If you have any questions, please know what you're saying yes to and know what you're saying no to. Get them answered. And I look forward to hopefully having an opportunity to meet you down the track. Thank you again for your time, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks, everyone.